Hey everyone, welcome back to Spector Creative. I'm your host, Scott Toy Guru Neitlich. I guess this is part two of a San Diego Comic-Con follow-up. I did part one where I wound up talking about Marvel for 10 minutes, and I like to try to keep my videos under or at about the 10-minute time. So let's talk about Star Wars. And those of us who are Star Wars collectors, like I am, Star Wars collector. I never got to work professionally on the Hasbro line, but I worked for Jax for several years and got to work on Rogue One and Episode 7 and a little of Episode 8. Did the whole Lucasfilm trip thing. Got to see the statue of Yoda and the Holy Grail. You know, Lucasfilm. It belongs in a museum. Well, it's in the Lucasfilm Museum. All right, that's not important. The point is, I love collecting Star Wars toys. I've been privileged to have worked on them. So let's talk about what was revealed in San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Well, we're wrapping up our return to Tatooine with the last of the vintage series figures, I guess, that are needed, the core Han and Chewie. I was a little disappointed we didn't get more vintage reveals. Very light. But, I think that's also because Hasbro is now doing all those Hasbro Pulse updates, so they kind of need reveals for all of those. They've switched over from, it used to be you just got reveals in San Diego and New York Comic Con, or New York Toy Fair. And then New York Comic Con came along, and then there were some. Now, both Hasbro and Mattel sort of do these fan live streams all the time, which I think is great. But it does lower the number of things we're going to see in San Diego, of course. They didn't even do a pipeline reveal, which they usually do, and say, like, these are figures that we can't show yet, but here are some images. So, it is what it is. I'm just really glad that I'm not going to lose all of my money buying figures that I already have. Well, I guess I am doing that with Han and Chewie, but only 2 figures, not 10. The other 3 3/4 reveal was the Jedi Spirits pack, which I had actually just done a video about the history of Hasbro Jedi Spirit figures, from the clear figures in the early 90s to the Anakin from the 80s to, the big doll of Anakin from the late 90s. And lo and behold, and I kind of concluded that, like, it's a shame that they aren't doing like all 3 of them in 3 3/4. We haven't seen that since Power of the Force 2, that cinema scenes 3-pack. Well, of course, lo and behold, after I recorded that video, Hasbro goes ahead and reveals the coolest Jedi Spirits 3-pack we've ever had, because not only are they 3 3/4 fully articulated, but we actually get swappable heads for Anakin. We get Hayden Christensen and Sebastian Shaw, which I think is one of the more diversive changes that happened. Maybe up there with Greedo shooting first. It was just like, come on. Really? You got to put Hayden Christensen into the original trilogy? That was Sebastian Shaw. And it's really a big deal that they did that, because not only is that acknowledging the older collector demographic, which I'll be making a video on that soon, where there really is this sort of, division in fans, in the way older fans look at the original trilogy versus younger, I'm finding, as I'm having more and more conversations with Generation Z Star Wars fans. And, a lot of them don't even know who Sebastian Shaw is. I mean, I guess from Vader removing his helmet and having a brief conversation with Luke, but man, taking his spirit out of the end of the Endor celebration, to me that was heartbreaking. And I thought we were never going to get a Sebastian Shaw figure ever again. And lo and behold, boom, alternate heads. That's the way to do it. They didn't do that with the 6-inch version, which is why I thought we'll never get another Sebastian Shaw figure. And I'm delighted. I mean, I will be tossing that Hayden Christensen head in a box and never using it, but that's awesome for those of you who want that. And I even hear there's rumors that the Anakin Ghost is going to be on a single card release with the Sebastian Shaw head later this year, which would be, again, awesome, because that's how we got it in the vintage days. So we kind of need to check that one off, don't we? As far as all of the original 92. Still no Simu. Come on. Oh, that's what I'm excited about. Okay, so the other big thing is I'm thrilled that I'm not going to be buying a giant Death Star playset. I've never been happier to be wrong. For months I've been saying the big rumor, and that's because I was hearing this from lots of people, is that Hasbro is going to be following up the Cantina with a Death Star playset. And while this seems really cool, I was very hesitant, because I'm like, I'm going to have to spend like $500 on a huge playset, and I bet they'll include Simu, the Imperial Dignitary, the last of the 92, that has never been made as a modern figure. We've gotten Ghost of Anakin, but we've never had actually a carded Ghost of Anakin on vintage card back. We got that one on the 30th anniversary line. So I guess that counts as a modern version, but now getting Anakin Anyway, the point being is Simulou's never had a figure. There have been Anakin Ghost figures in the past, regardless of packaging. But we've never gotten Simulou outside of the original 1985 Power of the Force 2. So I really didn't want to spend $500 on a playset to get this figure, like I had to do with the Tonica sisters, even though I was going to buy that Cantina anyway, which is why I guess I'm not as bitter. So I'm ecstatic they're doing the Attack of the Clones gunship. I'm not buying it. I have a gunship already. I'm also not a huge prequel collector. I get some stuff. And I think that's actually what might be affecting the gunship. Well, I'll do a whole video about it, but the fact that they're remaking a ship it's 20% bigger than the previous one, and they called the previous one a toy, and this is more of a piece of art. And it's getting off to a slow start. Less than 2,000 sold in the first day, which is about half of what they usually do. So we'll keep an eye on it. I hope for prequel fans that it goes through. I have a feeling it'll go through. But I can understand the hesitancy when a lot of people already own one and are already happy with it. So we'll get into that in a whole other video. But I'm so ecstatic to be wrong and that there is not a Death Star. Maybe we'll still be getting one in the future. I think the rumor happened because Hasbro has been trying to make a Death Star playset almost every year for the last 20 years. And just they can't get a retailer to buy in, or it just isn't working out right. Maybe that's why. Maybe people are just seeing so many of these prototypes that they assume it's a HasLab item. Either way, I'm glad at least I'm off one more year where I don't have to spend $500 to get a single figure, which would not be fun. So yay, and yay for Attack of the Clones fans. Black Series really just got, again, only a handful, but again, because they're doing all these Hasbro Pulse fan streams, they don't need to reveal as much, and they're not, which, does kind of affect the, what San Diego Comic-Con used to be, where it was like the place to get the inside information. Now you don't even need to show up in person. You just wait a half an hour till the panel's over, and you can see the whole thing on YouTube. So, yeah, that's a whole other video, is the sort of delusion of San Diego Comic-Con's importance, I think, to us. With fewer reveals. There was no Marvel panel in Hall H this year. So, but if you went, you had a great time. Love to know about it. What were your favorite Marvel reveals? What were your favorite Star Wars reveals? What were your favorite some other brand? I don't know, Ninja Turtle. Let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments. Because that's what I love doing. And I love that this channel gives us a place to talk about that. And I appreciate you spending some time with us today. So what were your takes on all of the all these new Star Wars reveals? Are you excited for another Jango Fett in the Black Series? Are you excited for the wire capes on Darth Vader for the Bespin figure? I mean, it's a great way to keep getting the main characters out there. That's what sells. So I appreciate you watching. And again, thanks for sharing this. I'll see you guys in the next video.